Hey, are we live yet? Hey everybody, welcome to Brilliantly Sexy with Devina Kaur. And today I have the honor of speaking to David Weiss from the Flat Earth podcast. And before I go into the show, I just want to say that the idea of a flat Earth is very new to me. The first time I heard it is because one of the kids. I was driving to school in the morning, and one of the kids said to me, do you know anything about the flat Earth? And I was like, what? What is a flat Earth? So this conversation, this curiosity started with a 12-year-old educating me. And so today I have, and coincidentally, as it happened, David and I connected, and David has agreed to be on the Brilliantly Sexy show. So thank you, David, and everybody, please go into this as an open mind. My information level is probably much less than yours. So David is here to educate us. And David is a very successful business person who left his work to follow this passion. David, take it over. Tell us what you know, and please educate us.
Hey, you know what's funny is I did another show today. You're the second show that said a 12-year-old is the one that asked them about. So we're reaching, young kids, which is fantastic. So
wow,
yeah. So the kids are waking up. The future of the world is in their hands, and thank God they're starting to realize where they live, because in this time of insanity that's going on in this world, people throw up their hands like, "What does it matter the shape of the Earth?" And as we get into this, I'm gonna show you why this is the most important topic of our time. And that sounds crazy, but the knowing where you are, who you are, what you are, is the most important thing right now. And it's how, by not knowing is how we got into this crazy situation that we're in. So
yeah. And David, just before we go on to, your explanation, your knowledge, you sharing your knowledge, I just want to invite everybody to kind of tell us about where they're from and, where you're watching from, what motivated you to watch this, and what do you think? Is the Earth flat or round? Or a sphere? Let us know in the comments. And again, we want to keep this as a discussion. At Brilliantly Sexy and at Sexy Brilliant Nonprofit Foundation, we welcome people of all genders,
even crazy flat earthers.
And by the way, there is no crazy. That's your belief, right? But we are a place for an honest discussion. And my job as a researcher, as an author, is to pass you the information. And then it's up to you to do your own research and make a choice, make a belief or not. And that's perfectly okay too. But we want to do this in the most kindest and the most respectful way, because everybody is entitled to their own belief and also to educate us. So thank you, David.
So let me just add a couple things to that. Everyone is entitled to their own belief, but belief is the enemy of knowing, is a quote from the Crow 777 radio show. And it's true, because belief is easy. You can believe you live on a globe. You're done. Go take a nap. Go drink a beer. Go do whatever you want. You're finished. Or you can try to know that you live on a globe. And if you try that, you'll end up like me, realizing that, the world is misdescribed, to say the least. So again, when I first heard about flat Earth, I even suggesting that I look into it. They were that stupid. And I refused to look. But then I was forced, I was coerced by somebody that I trust and respect to look. And I tried to prove the globe. And that's how I became a flat earther. So again, flat earther is like conspiracy theorist. The term has been weaponized. I like to call it a true earther or a globe skeptic, right? There's no way anybody listening to this show will, if they listen and actually think, that they can walk away without being a minimum of a globe skeptic. There's no way. Because I'm going to point to some doors that you never saw. Don't believe anything I say today. Just go, oh, I never really thought about that. Let me look into it. Get a note paper out or your notepad, whatever. Take notes. And this is where you're gonna, this. I like to say this is your red pill moment. If you're listening, if you're still listening, if you haven't thrown a fit, we've known the Earth is flat for 500 years, since the Greeks. I'm going to change all of that if you're willing to listen.
Wow. I'm listening, and you've got my attention. And David, So what makes you believe or know that the earth is flat? I mean, I'm still skeptical. I have no idea about this, and I'm going with an open mind.
The people that go against the ball they have two things in common. One, they don't understand what the globe model is, because if they did, they would be like, this is ridiculous. And the other thing is they have a false idea of what flat earth is, especially if they Googled flat earth, because Google will take you right to a government controlled website called the Flat Earth Society. You probably have heard of it. Obama mentioned it a half a dozen times in his speeches because he's driving people there. They want people to go there because it's ridiculous. No flat earther believes what's on that site. It's called a controlled opposition site to make you laugh at flat earth and never look at it again. Okay, so we're not a disk floating in space with other round planets. We're not a disk floating in space with other disk planets. It's nothing like that. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you an app that I made. I actually made it for myself, just so when I'm explaining flat earth to people, I could show them. But then it ended up being so cool. People were like, you got to upload this. So I uploaded it, and that was 2.5 years ago. And I've been updating it every single day since then. I haven't slept since, for 2.5 years because I'm working with a guy in India. So can you see my screen?
We can see your screen. And David, I have a question. How long have you been a truther for? Or, like the thing is when we use the term flat earther, we're like, it's like us against them, right? And I don't like that. You're speaking the truth, and you are speaking your truth. So how long have you been in this work for?
So ever since, I think it was in kindergarten or first grade, when the teacher spun the bucket of water around and said, that's gravity. And I go, wait a minute, if that's gravity, don't you have to point the water to the outside because the water's on the outside of the ball? And the teacher goes like this, scratches his head, and he goes, that's a good question. And I go, and I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, this is how we're told to teach it. You keep asking questions. So I guess that's when I became a truther.
Okay, yeah, that's where you started seeking knowledge, right?
Yeah, and then 9/11 is what got me questioning things.
Oh, yeah, and those of you who are listening in live and even in a recording, what do you think about 9/11? Do you believe that it was an inside job? Do you believe the planes really hit the towers? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. You can always email us at sexybrilliant.com. You can also email David, reach out to David at info@flatearther.com.
No. Info@the Flat Earth Podcast, just like the name of the podcast. TheFlatEarthPodcast.com.
Yeah, all the information is in the comments.
We're not going to go into 9/11 because that is a 5-hour show in itself. And just know that the craziest conspiracy theory in the world is the official story of 9/11. But let's get back to this topic.
Yes. And by the way, David, come back for another show about 9/11, okay?
You got it. Well, you're not going to want to do that on YouTube because you'll get a strike when we talk about it. But that's a whole nother thing. So before I start showing you what this does here, I'll actually turn on the time lapse. Think of the Earth like a pond, a big giant pond in Kansas. On a smaller scale, you got a lake that's 10 miles around, a circular lake on the flat plains of Kansas, okay? And in that lake are islands and we'll just call those the continents. In the center of the lake is a big tall mountain, and that is a magnetic mountain. And our compasses will point towards the center because that's where the north is. So we can circumnavigate sail around these islands, and we're going east, we're going west, we're going east, we go the other way. And then the shoreline of the lake is the shoreline of Antarctica. So all of this around the outside, Antarctica is not a continent at the bottom of a ball. It is the shoreline that holds in our lakes. So if you sail to the edge of the lake, you don't fall off the flat earth. You just get to the edge where there's more land and ice. And it goes on and on and on. And we don't know what's beyond there, but we can talk about that in a little bit. So the sun is attached to the hour hand. It goes around once every 24 hours. So if I speed it up, you'll see that the sun is outrunning the moon. It laps the moon once every 28 days. So you can see the moon is falling behind there and the phases are changing. So the sun marks the days. The moon keeps track of the months. Interesting. And the stars, I'll slow it down so because it's hard to see the stars. The stars, the zodiac, the fixed stars in the sky, they go slightly faster than the sun, just slightly. So the sun will slowly move backwards into each constellation for about a month. There's 12 zodiacs. It takes the stars about a year to exactly a year to lap the sun. So the sun will be in a zodiac for approximately a month throughout the year. So that's how the stars, moon, and sun work. And the song "The Wheels in the Sky Keep on Turning." Just think of these all as separate wheels in the sky. So so I'll turn off the stars. And we look at seasons. Right now, we're heading to the winter solstice. You've heard that term, right? And you've heard of the Tropic of Capricorn. That's a line in the sky. You never knew where it really was, but I'm going to tell you where it is. This yellow line on the outside is the Tropic of Capricorn, and this inner line is the Tropic of Cancer, okay? The sun migrates.
Oh, so you're talking about the circular line?
Yeah, these circular lines. So the sun, and then in between them, there's the red. You see the red line in the middle?
Yes.
That's the equator, okay? And the equator is equidistant from the two tropics. Everything in between the two tropics is the tropical zone. So everything is in between that's where the tropics are. It's in between the tropics. It's very simple. And the sun migrates in between those two lines. It takes 6 months to go all the way out to December 21st, where it'll be over the Tropic of Capricorn. And if I move it 6 months into the future, it's over in June. This is showing June 16th. June, it's over the Tropic of Cancer, and that's when we have our summer in the inner northern lands. So the inner lands are the north, the outer lands are the south. And so right now we're having our winter because the sun is far away from us and it's low in the sky. Inside the flat Earth system, the sun and the moon and all the stars are within the Earth system, and they're very close. So let me just show you a couple quick things on the app, and then we'll jump out and I'll show you some other stuff. So as I was talking about so this is how you navigate. The north is in the center. Any direction away from north is south. That's south. If I go here, that's south. If I go this way, if I'm just heading away from the north, that's south. East and west are circles. So many people have circumnavigated the world. They went from, California, they flew traveling east and west. West is a circle. I'm over in Japan. I keep going. I'm in Africa. I keep going. I'm following my compass west, west, west. Guess what? I'm back to where I started from, and I thought I was going in a straight line, but I went in a circle. And east is the same thing. You can even go from like Mexico and in a straight line. I'm heading north, 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 north. As soon as I pass north, I'm still going in the same direction, but now I'm going south and I'm here. But that doesn't prove the flat Earth. East and west circumnavigation doesn't prove the flat Earth because you could do it on both. What would prove the globe is if you can go south. If you can go south from Santiago, Chile, and head south and then pop over up in Australia. Or you can go from the tip of Africa and head south and pop up over in New Zealand. Nobody's ever done that, okay? If the Earth was a ball, billions of people would have done it, okay? Because billions of people have circumnavigated east and west.
So David, how do people from, let's say, Santiago, Chile, get to New Zealand or South Africa?
Excellent question. We're going to get to that as soon as I jump out of the app. Let me just show you a couple quick things in the app. If you hit that question mark button where those blue buttons are, up comes playlists, stuff that Google is hiding from you. You're like, hey, where's the edge? Oops. If I click where's the edge, here's a bunch of videos on where's the edge. Or as you were just saying, what about Southern flights, right? If I hit that, there's the answers in there, but I'm going to show you what about Southern flights, or, why the lie? Again, if you hit that, up come great videos that'll answer all of your questions. We also have other links to other interesting topics, a lot of them flat earth related, debunking, like I just saw something on Netflix or, Professor Dave or Nat Geo that said the earth isn't flat. We have those videos in there and we scientifically take them apart and show you the deception. We're not saying, hey, they're fake. We're showing you that they're lying. Okay. So all of that's there for those people that speak different languages. I have playlists in different languages. But what I say to people is, if you think the flat earth is stupid, get the app. It's $2.99. And every day there'll be a new video that shows up in the bottom corner here. It's the featured video of the day. And if you click it, up comes that video. And every video that comes after it will be videos from the app, not from Google's algorithm to give you propaganda. And I say, take the Flat Earth App Challenge. Watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. And then you will know that you don't live on a globe. And this is what happens. They'll be like, hey, you convinced me to listen to your show on Sexy Brilliant. I bought your stupid app and I took the challenge, but I didn't want to wait. So I hit that red button next to it, the archive button, and up comes all of the videos from the previous month. If you hit that little hamburger at the top, all of the other months. I haven't slept in 2 days. My family thinks I'm crazy. The earth is flat. What do I do with myself? And I say, welcome to Flat Earth, and everything changes from there. The app also has, it's a great weather app. If you just click the weather area up here, it brings you, it tells you what your daily weather is, so you know what to wear that day. And there's a whole bunch of other features, but that's enough on that. It's just the greatest way to learn. It'll save you hundreds of hours of disinformation. Go ahead.
I'm getting that app because I'm curious. And this is like, it's about like when we are educated, when we spend time in getting information, the right information, that's when we achieve a better version of ourselves. As I like to call it, that's when we become sexier version of ourselves. Knowledge is a powerful tool.
Absolutely. So
the right knowledge.
So you were asking about how does Southern flights work, right?
Yeah.
So right now, if there we go. If you look, this is backwards for me. So if you go from Santiago, Chile, this is the flight route from Santiago, Chile. It goes all the way up to the north. It goes across and then all the way back down. I'm not good at pointing.
Why?
So that's the flight route. And people are like, well, they have to make stops up there. They have to pick up other passengers. That's a crazy flight route. If they were going to do it, Antarctica's on the bottom. They could just go, here's Santiago. They could just go boop right over here. Or they could just stay at I think they're like 55 degrees south. They could just go around the bottom part of the ball, right? That's like a third of the distance. But why do they do that? Here's why. Here's the same flight route on a flat Earth map. It's a straight line.
Can you make that bigger?
I can't. Well, maybe I can. No, I can't. I can't in here. But basically, if you just see this line here, this line is the same flight route as that big loop. It's a straight line. I mean, if you look, there's a book called Emergency Landings Prove Flat Earth. Because if you look on the globe, there's a flights where someone's having a baby, someone has a heart attack, whatever, and the flight has to land, and it lands in the craziest place. Like it's coming from the Philippines to California, and that's an emergency landing. So it could land in Hawaii, or it could go to California, but it goes all the way up to Alaska and lands in Alaska. It's like, why is it doing that? And it's because Alaska is the closest thing. They lie about where they're flying. All of the flight plans are controlled by NASA. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever looked into NASA, but NASA is a Hollywood studio of deception.
Well, so that brings me to another question, and I don't know if you can answer this, David. What about the moon landing? Was that controlled by NASA? Is that real?
Yeah. So here's a picture of the man on the moon. Okay. So if I could show you that NASA's lying about one thing, then you have to kind of discount everything that they do. I can show you that they're lying about everything, but I'm just going to start here. And this is one where you're going to have to use your brain a little bit and think. So I call the moon a dusty, dirty ball. Okay. It's a dusty, dirty ball. Does it look very bright? Do you think, it's not very bright at all? Okay.
No.
But if you look at the full moon over here, there, the full moon, that's supposedly being lit by a single source light, the sun. So if you have a light on a ball, there should be a hot spot and then it should fade out. Mm-hmm. But it's perfectly lit evenly. Okay. It's evenly, almost like it's its own light. It's generating its own light. Okay. This does not look like this. Okay. Yeah. And then there's a thing called the inverse square law of light. Okay. Here he goes with the math, but I'm going to make it really easy. If you have a light and it's X brightness, we'll just call it, brightness is in lumens, and it's 1 lumen. Let's just say that this moon right here is 1 lumen. It's way brighter than that, because on a full moon, on a clear night, you could be out in the middle of nowhere with no city lights and you could read by the full moon. It's bright enough, right? Yeah. It's bright enough to cast a shadow on the ground. You see your moon shadow. Mm-hmm. And so let's say it's 1 lumen. If you cut any distance in half to light, it gets 4 times brighter. It's exponentially brighter. Mm-hmm. So halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens, right? Mm-hmm. Halfway again, break that in half, it's 16 lumens. Break that in half, it's 64 lumens. It quadruples every time, and the reverse works the other way. By the time you got to 100 miles from the moon, where the astronauts supposedly took a picture of the dusty, dirty rock, it would be like 10 million lumens. The number of lumens is ridiculous. Not only would they not be able to take a picture, their eyes would probably melt, and the spaceship should pulverize from the brightness. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they're lying about this. This rock is 238,000 miles away. Do you think that can reflect light so you can read by it in the middle of nowhere? Absolutely not. It makes no sense whatsoever.
So hold on, you're saying that the moon is fake?
No, I'm saying that nobody ever went to the moon. Okay. That the moon is the biggest mystery on flat Earth and the globe Earth. It's within the Earth system. Everything we see in the sky is within the Earth system. Here's a photo from 120,000 feet, and the sun's a little cut off, but the sun's right there above the Earth. You can even see the hot spot that's reflecting on the Earth. The sun and the moon are, in my opinion, the sun and the moon that we see are not physical. They're projections into the Earth system.
Wow.
Yeah. So, if this is the Earth right here, this is the Earth pond, and there's a dome over us, and everything is within the Earth dome. Everything that we see is within that dome. Yeah, this is mind-boggling stuff. And people say, well, I've seen boats over the horizon. I've seen, you haven't. You've been fooled into thinking you saw that. Like, we were all shown in school when they were teaching us about the Earth, when we were literally, in first, second, third grade. They showed us a video of a 3-masted ship going, and it goes dropping down lower, and you can only see the mast. But if you watch the actual video that they showed us, it's a super rough day for one, big waves. And every time the ship goes down, it was an edit and they lowered the camera. If you lower the camera, you're going to see less distance. Okay. So people say, well, I've seen ships disappear from the bottom up. You think you've seen them disappear from the bottom up, because the bottom of a ship, there's 2 things that are happening. One, the bottom of something has its smallest angular view. The higher up it is, gives you a better angle and a larger angular view. So because the angular size is getting small, and because there's little waves and there's thickness of atmosphere, it literally blocks what you're seeing across the bottom, and things disappear into what we call the mirage of the sky meeting the horizon. So, and I have video that I if we were on Zoom, I could show you. It's difficult to do on StreamYard, but things disappear from the bottom up. Here's a experiment that we did. We got an iPhone and we put it on the floor with the camera on the low part in a Home Depot, super smooth cement floor. And we put a red brick right in front of it, and the red brick filled the whole camera, just like that, okay? And then we dragged the red brick away, and it got smaller and smaller. Its angular size is getting smaller and smaller, right? It's getting smaller and smaller. when that brick got to a certain point, it disappeared. You couldn't see it, even though it was still there, but the camera couldn't see it, which is just like your eye. You lift the camera up, it could now see the brick because I've increased my angle of view. This is called the angular resolution limits of your eyes. I bring it back down, the brick disappears. Now, what happens when I stack 3 bricks on top of it?
Well, the surface increases, so you have more.
And I can see the 3 bricks, but I still can't see the bottom brick. And if I dragged it farther, the second brick would disappear, and it would slowly disappear from the bottom up. And that's without any atmospheric stuff that's going on. Again, in the app,
that's like somebody taking a selfie. Like, you take it from here, the view is different. You take it from here, the view is different, right?
Right.
And you don't have to, like, what you're saying makes perfect sense, because as anybody who's ever taken a selfie will tell you how tricky it is to photograph the same angle. And it changes when you change your, I guess, your sphere, or was it sphere or axis?
Right. So your angle of view, people say, well, we can see, get up higher, you can see over the curve. No, when you get up higher, you can see farther because you're just increasing your angular view of things. So let's stay on NASA for a little bit. So here is the picture that was on everyone's iPhone. This is the blue marble right here. When everyone first got their iPhones, and this is in every textbook. This is an official picture of Earth from NASA. But if you zoom in, the clouds are stepped and repeated. These are the same clouds, same clouds. Okay. That's just one thing that's wrong with this. The colors, the size and shape of the plant of the Earth. It's fake. And the guy that works for NASA, his name is Rob Simmons. Rob Simmons, he is the one that he said he made it in Photoshop because it has to be. That's his famous quote. If you look at this one, this is the 2 best pictures NASA has of Earth. Okay. Look at the size of the United States here, and look at the size here. It's twice the size. Those spheres are taken, they're the same size. None of that makes any sense. Okay. They're not photographs. They're literally paintings. They're paintings.
David, my question is, why is the system, I'm going to call the government, there's a mastermind behind there, why is the system lying to us?
Why is the system lying to you? The answer is a good answer. The answer is they're lying to us because they're hiding God. Okay? They want you to believe that you live in a random, by chance, accident, godless or distant God universe, and that you are a chance creation, and there's trillions of others, and that your actions and thoughts don't matter, versus knowing that we are at the center of creation, that this place was created for us, that we are safe, that there is all of these things that they have everybody afraid of are nonsense. They want us living in fear, thinking that we live on a prison planet, okay, because it's a planet is a prison, and giving away our true power. Because the truth is, we have God-given free will, and they can't take it from us unless we willingly give it away. So they let us know. They show us these crappy pictures of Earth. They're like, hey, we showed you that cartoon. You're stupid for believing it. That's how they get away with it. Look at this picture. This picture right here. You can see the United States right up there. So I represented, this is the land that we see on that ball, right? You with me?
Yeah.
All of this other land has to be on the other side of this ball. Does that make any sense to you? Can you fit all of that land on the other side of that ball?
Seems like too much.
It seems like too much. It's clearly and obviously and undeniably far too much. Okay. So this is just a representation of what people want to believe the Earth looks like. Okay. It's complete and total nonsense.
Yeah, like I'm looking at it, like the balls are the same size, and then we've got Africa, we've got Europe, we've got Asia,
It's
I'm
all
not.
on the other side of that ball. It makes no sense. They're showing you nonsense, and people just gobble it up as
But this,
truth.
yeah, but David, this is such a, like when we go on websites, we look at like, I'm gonna say not like we see the spinning globe. Where does that?
No.
We don't see the
We see
spinning globe.
we see NASA does not show has never shown us a picture of a spinning globe. Now there's all sorts of spinning globe stuff out there, but it's garbage. If you actually look at it, it's complete and total garbage. Here, check this out. This is from NASA. Okay. They tell us that Jupiter is a gaseous planet, with storms, and these rings are spinning in opposite directions and everything. 2 years apart. They took this picture in 2016. They said, look, we got a picture of the Northern Lights there. Amazing picture. This was like all over the news. That's
This is
garbage.
Jupiter.
This is Jupiter, and they got this picture with the Northern Aurora Lights in 2016. This is the picture from 2014, but if you overlay them, if you just look at them carefully, every single ripple and every cloud is exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So right there, NASA's lying. They're lying. They're liars. It's over. You can't believe anything they did. The reason they have the moon missions is to make you think you live on a ball. Okay. It's all to control your mind.
Yeah. And David, you said something very interesting earlier. When I asked you why are they doing this, because they want to keep us away from God. Which is like,
they don't because if you realize who you are, where you are, what you are, you'll stop giving your power away. We're in a spiritual war with these controllers, and that's how they're winning. Most people don't know that that's even a thing, and they're living in fear, and they're in fear of this crazy virus. They're in fear of everything. They're living in a make-believe world. And they're willingly giving up their divinity.
Yeah, and I just want to say something, because this is true what David just said, but it's really important that if you are here, that you are kind and compassionate to yourself, because this is a system that's been designed to keep us at a low frequency. It is not to say that that we can't change it, but it takes a lot of mindfulness, a lot of inner growth, inner connection to find out what the truth is, and that you don't have to live in fear, because when we live in fear, we lower our vibration. You have this, or rather this image that you have, it says your mind is infected with cartoons. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean is we're talking about two things here, and they're both very similar. People believe they live on a ball because of these 8 images. These are clearly paintings. They're not photographs. NASA won't even say that they're photographs. People are living in fear because of these cartoons that they say are floating through the air. You had Amanda Vollmer on. If anyone has not heard that episode with you, turn this off right now and go back and listen to Amanda's. It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
With her, and you will lose your fear over this cartoon world that we're living in. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get you a strike, but cartoon, end of story. You don't show cartoons when something's real. If anyone watched Saturday Night Live this week, I think it was this week, they're making fun of this situation here. Okay. They're making fun of it. If this was a real situation, they wouldn't be making fun of it on Saturday Night Live. Okay. Okay. So, they're making fun of it. They're mocking us. This is all mockery and false worshiping. It's we can go, Davina. Am I saying that right, Davina? Right?
Yes.
We can go down so many rabbit holes, and people's heads will explode. But I'm trying to stay focused right here on, this situation. So here's the thing: people, it's easy to lie to people and fool them. It's really easy. Okay. Sometimes I start a show and then people say, hey, what's your story? And I say, well, I went to medical school for 3.5 years. And then I realized that allopathic medicine really wasn't good, and I took a more homeopathic route, and then I got into truth seeking and all this stuff. And a couple minutes later in the interview, I talk about how belief is the enemy of knowing. And I said, for example, you believe I went to medical school for 3.5 years. I never went to medical school. But believing is so easy. Okay. So if you believe something, it affects who you are. So it's easy to fool somebody. It's harder to convince them they've been fooled. Once you fool them, they're locked into it. Here's the problem. Guess when you were indoctrinated into the ball? You were indoctrinated into the globe before you could speak. Whenever they sat you down in front of Sesame Street, it's all globe indoctrination. They have astronauts on there and Werner von Braun, and all of the Teletubbies, all of it is, that's newer stuff, but it's all globe programming. Universal Pictures had a spinning globe before NASA ever put a picture up to show us what the globe would look like. They somehow knew in 1927. Okay, it's utter nonsense.
Yeah, and you just said something very interesting that my ADD brain is forgetting right now. And the thing is, what you said about like mind control, it is true. It's hard. We are manipulated to fit other people's desires and wants, right? And there's manipulation of reality. So it's really like at an extremely bad place we are. But there's so much hope with the work you're doing, David. And whether it's true or not, I'm not convinced yet. So
people, when I said it's hard to convince people they've been fooled, people don't like change. They don't like, when you tell somebody, hey, this in your life is not true, that kind of disrupts their life a little bit. When you tell them that their entire childhood and adult life belief of living on a spinning globe is nonsense, you're ripping their entire world out from underneath them. But in fact, that world is an unstable spinning ball in an infinite space vacuum. Makes no sense. You're planting them on solid ground. The Earth is the basement of the universe. What's below it? We can get into that because I don't know, but nobody knows what's below it. Nobody knows what's below the surface of the ball Earth either. But once you realize, here's the heliocentric model. You're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. This is the globe model. So that means when you're watching the sunset, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. And that's making the sun appear to go down. That's silly. Okay. While you're doing that, the Earth is orbiting around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, 66,600 miles an hour to be exact. Okay. That's an interesting number. That's crazy. And then it's chasing the sun because the sun's flying at 500,000 miles an hour. And that entire system's moving sideways at over 1,000,000 miles per hour. Okay. You can't fathom any of these things. All of that is going on. And we get this perfectly glass lake bodies of water with zero ripples in them at all. That makes no sense because all of those motions are curved motions. So curving is acceleration. If you have a glass of water in a car or an airplane and the airplane starts curving or the car takes a turn, it sloshes.
Yes.
And the Earth is dropping at something like you're dropping at like 5 miles a minute, right? That if you're spinning, right? None of that is happening. Look at this body of water. Large bodies of water at rest, lay flat. The Earth is motionless, other than a earthquake.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying that because you just said the Earth is motionless, are we spinning on our axis?
No, the Earth is motionless, and everything in the sky spins around above us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we always stay, like, let's say I am here, I'm in my office, because I see the sunrise on that side, which is the east, and then I see the sun set in the west, and right now it's in the afternoon, and it's right here in my face. So what is that? Is there an east and west?
Yes. So I'm going to share my screen again, and so you look at the sun. Right now, wherever the sun is, it's noon. Okay, It's noon wherever the sun is. So you watch as the sun goes over here. This is 6 p.m. for me, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. And I'm over here and it's getting dark. So now it's dark. And the sun, right now it's noon in central Australia. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. So now we're in the whole United States is in the dark. Okay. And as it comes around, the sun will start rising. Right. This doesn't show this is not meant to show you the exact day and night, but it's darn close, and it matches day and. So right now the sun is rising on the East Coast, but not on the West Coast. Now it's rising on the West Coast, and the sun comes around. Okay, and the shape of the light. You see how it's not quite just half; it kind of wraps around. You see that? Do you see how
the say that again?
So you see how the darkness is it's less than half. How the light wraps around, like it's light all the way over here, and it's light all the way over here. It's not just a straight line. But if I jump the sun forward to the equinox, which is when it's over the equator, now look, it's equal day and equal night.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I go to the summer, to our summer in the north, we have these longer days because the sun is lighting up this area here, and we have really longer days, and the outer south has longer nights. So when the sun comes around, again, this is west. West is a circle this way. The sun is going to the west. It's coming around, and then it rises in the east. This is east right here, and the sun will rise as it comes closer. It's noon over the United States, and then it goes around, and the sun sets and makes its circuit again. Airplane pilots doing flights like from you can see my mouse, right?
Yes.
From California to Germany, right? So they're flying this way, okay? They're flying, and the sun is over here when they take off. Well, the sun, they can see the sun the whole time. The sun kind of drops down, and then it comes back again because they're beating it over here when it's just going around. The earth does not move at all. When there's a tiny earthquake, you feel disoriented. You feel it. Your eardrums freak out. Your vestibular system, flips out. The earth isn't moving at all, period. They have us believing that we're spinning, orbiting, flying on a space pair rocket ship in a giant space vacuum.
Okay, so David, I have a question. The earth is not moving at all. There's no axis. There is no rotation. There's no great here. We've got three. They say we've got three rotations. So we've got none of those happening. What about the entering the age of Aquarius that we're about to do?
That all has to do with the sky clock. That's all. The sky is a perfect clock. Think about this. We're corkscrewing, according to them, we're corkscrewing through an infinite universe. We're spinning, we're orbiting, and we're flying and turning throughout this crazy universe. When in reality, all of those wheels in the sky just keep on turning, and the different constellations come into play. The sky is a perfect clock, and it repeats itself. Did you know that eclipses? Everyone says, "Well, but eclipses prove the Earth is a ball." Eclipses repeat themselves every 18 years, and I think it's 11 days. Okay, they go on a cycle, and they repeat themselves like a clock has gears that'll repeat itself. If the Earth was a spiraling beehive of planets and stuff moving, nothing would be the same night to night, let alone decade to decade and millennia after millennia. But if you go out tonight and mark all of the fixed stars in the sky, not the wandering stars, which they now call planets, and you say, okay, that star's there, that star's there, that star's there. And then next year, same time, same night, go out, all of the stars will be in the exact same position. If we were corkscrewing and beehiving and, this time next year, according to the heliocentric model, we're like billions of miles from where we were this year because we're moving at 500,000 miles an hour and going sideways and then, at millions of miles per hour. None of that makes any sense at all.
Okay. I have to say this, that We're only 44 minutes into the show. I have a headache.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and this is everybody. You go to school. School isn't school. School is indoctrination camp.
Yes.
If you want to get straight A's, what do you have to do? Memorize and regurgitate. I'm going to tell you something that they taught us, and hopefully you remember this. We've known the Earth is a ball for 500 years because the mathematician from Greece, Aristophanes, proved it with sticks and shadows. Do you remember that story?
Well, I went to school in India.
Okay, so the story that they put here in the United States, and I don't know about that's a good question. Like, did they teach that worldwide? He noticed that on a certain day of the year, the sun shined all the way to the bottom of a well, which told him that the sun was directly above that well. Okay, that happens. And then he sent somebody 500 miles away at the same latitude who put a stick straight up and down, and that stick should not have a shadow if the Earth is flat because the sun rays are coming in parallel. That's what they tell us. But because there was a shadow, he did some math and figured out the shape of the Earth. And, people like Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson, they all talk about Aristophanes and how he figured out the size of the Earth within 2%. Amazing, 500 years ago or whatever time it was. So that's a made up story. It never happened. No one's ever redone that experiment. And there's no books about Aristophanes and his experiment that are dated before the 1980s. They showed up in Rockefeller textbooks and were inserted into the school indoctrination system. Okay. It's a fake story, but that doesn't even matter. If you have two sticks, right? We're told that the sun is 93 million miles away, and that the sun's rays come in parallel, right? That's what they tell us because it's so far away. They're parallel, and that's basically just how, and all the measurements are done on that false assumption. But I'm trying to find a picture as I talk. There we go. But if you ever look at the sun coming through the clouds, you'll notice that they don't look parallel at all. The sun's rays they come in at these angles, these corpuscular rays, right? Yes. So if you do a little drawing, the sun's right, it's right there, above the clouds. But if you have two sticks on a flat table, so I got two sticks, right? You with me?
Yes.
And if I put a light directly over this stick, there's no shadow on this stick because the sun's going straight down. But I have this stick over here. If this light is still over here, it's going to make a shadow on this stick.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I can now do an equation showing you this one has no shadow, this one has a shadow. I know the distance and tell you the sphericity of my table. Okay. My table's not a sphere. Okay. It's just a math equation. It proves absolutely nothing. They're lying about everything. I show you they're lying about photos of the Earth. They're lying about, what's going on, the space station. They're lying about everything. And then you have to really understand why. I have this picture right here. Yes. You see, what's wrong with this? Does the Earth look kind of flat over here? Look, it's a trick question. Okay. This is what they show people, and they make them think that the Earth is flat. The Earth is a globe, but did you know that NASA does all of their training for the spacewalks in an underwater space station and a giant swimming pool at the National Buoyancy Lab? This photo was taken in a swimming pool, and in this lab they have green screens in the pool. Why would you have a friggin' green screen in the pool?
Because you want to cover the truth of what really is out there. And
training in a pool to see what the vacuum of space, which is the opposite of what a pool is doing. A pool is trying to compress you with water. A space is trying to pull everything out of your spacesuit. Okay. None of it makes any sense at all. Right. And then they go, what about, I've seen the astronauts floating on the space station. They're floating on the space station. Right.
Yes.
This is what we see. This is nonsense. If I had a harness on with some green wires, I could do a flip. Okay. This is nonsense. Budget $25. Okay. Okay? NASA gets $65 million a day, right?
A day?
And every day, $65 million a day to deceive the world.
That's
Now, I don't
where our
believe they actually
taxpayer
get that
money is
money.
going into.
What's that?
That's where our taxpayers' money is going to.
That is where some of our taxpayers' money is going to. It's all complete and total nonsense.
Wow. So tell me more about this this screen that you have in your background. So what do they do with this?
So this is the International Space Station, right?
This is your screen. This is not the International Space Station.
Well, this is what they tell us. This is a photo from inside the International Space Station with all these wires and everything all over the place. It was built 20 some odd years ago or whatever. Maybe it was longer than that, somewhere around there. But the most technological, advanced building of anything in all of history. Agreed? Okay. There's 0 videos of it being built. 0. Okay. Mission Control would need to have like 100 friggin' cameras going for every single thing that they add to it. But there's zero videos of it being built. There's one animation. It just kind of showed up in the sky. So, and then we have thousands, countless. I don't even say thousands anymore because it's probably millions at this point of videos of them hanging from wires, green screen mishaps, virtual reality screw ups, guys hanging from harnesses. It's unbelievable. You only need one to prove that they're lying. They're lying about everything. So,
yeah. They are the system, and the system lies to us because they want to keep us dumb, and they don't want us to think for ourselves, because when we think for ourselves, we are rather powerful. So that's the truth.
So and Devina, people are like you. They're trusting, loving people. Everybody, people are good. They don't want to understand that there is pure evil in this world, and pure evil is what's trying to run this world. And our goal here in life is to maintain control of our soul and not sell our soul, not lose control. Because if you maintain harmony with your soul, you have a really great, healthy life. When we first started, I had this background up, and you're like, "Hey, show me your piano." Right? Okay, right? And so it's so easy to fool people. When I first got the green screen, I started out with this screen, and I have another one like a log cabin, and the comments were, "Oh, must be nice, making the big bucks in the flat Earth world, selling your app." I'm just like, God, people are so easily fooled.
Well,
people are fooled easily.
Because we are simple at heart. We are simple. Love is our true home. We understand that. But the manipulation that goes into changing our reality, now that's something completely different that we can never even think about. But you know what? There are evil people out there. The system is evil.
Beyond what you can believe. Did you know that the planet Pluto, the farthest planet in our soul lure system, where they're luring your soul away, was discovered the same year that they created the Disney character Pluto? So a few years ago, one of our supposed deep space probes, which is nonsense, was flying by at 60,000 miles an hour and was able to snap a beautiful photo of Pluto. This is the photo that they were able to snap. And it, weirdly enough, has this outline of something that looks just like friggin' Pluto. Okay? This is the official photo from NASA. And by the way, from Pluto, the sun looks like a star. It's so far away. It's so small, according to NASA. Right? And it's that bright. How did it get that photo with like a 4-megapixel camera? Okay. Yeah, and how did it transmit it back to Earth?
I have another question. Are the planets real?
I showed you this. They're faking. Oh, did I show you this yet?
Yes, you did show us Jupiter 2016.
So they're faking it. So what are those planets? They used to be called wandering stars. Oh, here's something I wanted to tell you. They used to be called wandering stars because they're very similar to stars. When we zoom in on them, on planets and stars, they're pulsing orbs of light. They are their own light. I think that planets and stars are souls and gods that's the best words I have for it. They're sentient in nature, and they really control our life. So where was I going with that? Oh, I might have been something else, but we were talking before about Aristophanes and how that's a fake story. Did you know that I was interviewing a woman, 102 years old, this January, just before the COVID nonsense started, and I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. And
World what?
World, you ever heard of the World's Fairs? Like in the early 1900s, there was these grand fairs that they had in California and New York and other places where they had these grand buildings that they supposedly built for these fairs. And then they knocked them down. You start looking into this, you realize it's the wiping out of an entire pre-civilization from human memory. But I was talking to her about it, and she was telling me about her 5th birthday party, 102 years old. She was telling me about her 5th birthday party and how Susie had a problem with the coconut cake and something with her pink dress. And she remembered the present. And I was like, wow. I said, where did you go to school? Elementary school. She named the school. She named her teachers. She's telling me who's in her class. And I said, what did they teach you in science class? And she goes, they taught me the earth was flat. Okay.
What?
And I immediately took out my camera and I said, can I interview you on camera? And I did a recording, and it's on my YouTube channel. Just look up 102-year-old Ruth Flat Earth. My YouTube channel is DITRH, the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. But I'll give you a link to that if you want to put it in the show notes. And she tells me the whole thing, and I explained to her how the earth is flat, and she broke out in tears. She was crying. It was unbelievable. And the video went viral. So check this out. People are mirroring it. It's getting tons of views. And I told everybody on the shows that I did, I said, everyone, go. We don't have very much time because the people that were taught the earth is flat are over 100 years old. So we have to find them. I said, go to old age homes, start interviewing people. And people started to set up to go to old age homes. Bam, COVID hit. Nobody can go to an old age home.
Wow, that makes so much sense though, right?
So
as soon as you come close to information, it's hidden from you. Okay, hold on, David. I have a question that I have to ask you.
Go ahead.
Well, so I'm from India, and I study astrology. My mom's an astrologer. So our astrology is based on the Vedic system, which is planets.
Yeah.
So is that fake as well?
So check this out. How can Jupiter, a giant gas planet 25 million miles away, affect my daily life? Never makes any sense. I'm not paying any attention to astrology. Astrology is nonsense. That's my thinking. That was my thinking.
Okay.
Astronomy is the real science, when in fact that's the opposite. Billionaires have astrologers. Okay. Astrology makes so much sense. Your astrology works, but it works better on a flat earth because those planets and those movements, the retrograde, everything, the movements of them, they're all within the earth system. They're here. They're close to us. They're connected to us. They're not rocks. They're sentient. They're energetic. Everything in this world is magnetic and electric in nature. We are magnetic electric beings. The earth is magnetic and electric, and these things are within our sky, and they are connected to us. Their positions relative to us, which are all close, affect us every day. So the things that you are learning, they're right. You just wrap them around your perception of a globe. Once you understand that the flat earth they still work, but they're here. They're close. I mean, all of the things that affect astrology, there's distances away that make no sense. Doesn't it make more sense that they're right here?
Sure.
Go out. If you have a clear sky, we're getting a snowstorm here. But there's an alignment going on the next few days where all the planets are in the sky at the same time. And you can see them. Look at them. They're brighter than any stars. These dusty, dirty balls, millions of miles away, are reflecting light. They're right there in our sky. And these alignments are the endings and beginnings of new cycles. We're going on December 21st into a new epoch.
Yeah.
Okay? all of this has to do with astrology. Astrology works really well on a flat Earth. Good.
Yeah, I just want to mention something to everybody who's here. If you're not familiar with this, on the 21st of December 2020, we are officially entering the age of Aquarius. And again, the changeover has been gradual. It's been gradual. It's been going on for the last 7 years, and now we're at the 8th year. But also, this is just a very heavy energy. Like, lots of emotions are coming up. So just be mindful of that. And just take care of yourself, because this is a very, very precious time and a very great time to manifest as well, according to the astrology that I know, which I'm starting to question, David.
Well, again, it does not negate your astrology. It strengthens it. Look up Santos Bonacci. He's way into that, but he knows the Earth is flat. He takes it to a whole nother level. All of the things that are real work better on a flat Earth. Like, when maybe there's an underworld, well, that works better on a flat Earth. The deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles, where they hit an impenetrable barrier. They tried drilling through it and blowing it up, and they couldn't get through it. Okay, maybe that's a firmament below us, and there's another world below us, and there's a firmament above us, maybe 70 miles up, or somewhere around there, who knows. And there's a whole nother heavenly realm, less dense realm above us. I don't know, can't go there, but there is evidence that there is some sort of barrier up there. A rocket was shot into it, an independent rocket, not a NASA fake rocket, and it literally went into a thicker medium, and it started floating. This was shot up in Arizona, and when it was spinning and flying, and it had a camera pointing down, a camera pointing sideways, and when it went into this medium, it stopped spinning and it floated, and as it turned, it saw the moon, and the moon at that moment was over Australia. Okay? If the Earth is a globe, and here's Arizona, the moon was down here underneath the Earth, but it saw the moon over there, across the flat plane.
Well, that's interesting. I don't understand all of this, because I'm the first time that I'm coming across all the details.
Right.
So the Earth is flat. There is a moon. There's a sun. There are planets.
So the light, the only thing that you can honestly say about anything you see in the sky is that they're lights. We don't know how big they are. We don't know how far they are. We don't know what they're made of, and we don't know what they do. But we can track them. They're on a cycle like a clock. They're precisely accurate like a clock. So that means that they're not like a random beehive. Again, what I tell people is, get the app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can just scan that QR code, or you can just search Flat Earth Clock. It'll show up. It's by Blue Water Bay. And just watch a video a day. Watch a video a day. When you have some time, hit that archive button, go through some videos, or hit the 21 questions and go, oh, you know what? I'm wondering about that. I wonder, we can see too far. What about Southern flights? Just watch those videos and watch the debunking videos, and you will really feel a weight off of your heart. I mean,
well,
good.
I'm going to have to obviously do a lot of more research. So, the Earth is flat. Let's assume the Earth is flat. The sun is
circles around above the flat Earth.
Okay, and then the moon follows it.
The moon and the sun laps the moon once every 28 days, as I showed you. The moon's going a little bit slower, and it laps it once every 28 days.
So the moon is real.
Real? I don't know. Here's what happens. When there's a new moon, the moon disappears and nobody can see it. And the fastest anyone has ever seen it from anywhere, doesn't matter what kind of special lens they have, space station, which is also nonsense. No one's ever seen the moon for under, it took them like 42 hours or something like that. That's almost 2 full days. So why can't we see the moon when it's new? Because think about this. You have the sun here, right? It's lighting up the Earth. Okay. When the new moon is supposedly in between it's here, so the sun's on the back side of the moon. How come the Earth shine? The Earth is 6 times bigger than the moon. It's shinier than the moon, so it should reflect light and light up the moon, just like the moon lights up the Earth when there's a full moon. Okay.
Well, not really clear. Okay, I have a question. You know, when these there was a NASA, or I don't know if I'm saying this right, there was a space shuttle accident where there was an Indian one involved, and I specifically remember that over Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know what? Can you explain that, please?
Are you talking about the Challenger accident?
Yes, where I think 6 or 7 astronauts died.
So that one was the first time ever that the televisions were rolled into every classroom in the United States and most of the world, and all the kids were forced to watch a launch. Right, here are the astronauts. Right, Krista McCauley up on the top here. That was the teacher, and that's why it was the big thing for students. But we found out that all of them.
Which year is this?
This I forget, 80 something.
Okay.
No, whatever it was, the challenge. This is the big disaster. It took off and it blew up, and they all died. But we found people with the exact same names that look and sound exactly like them, and they claim that they're their identical twin.
What?
Okay.
Everybody has an identical twin?
With 6 out of the 7 we found to have identical twins. This guy right here, Dick Scobie, he has a company, and on his website, which they recently took down, I think, he's got a flying cow, right, with a smoke trail coming out of its butt, where it spins around just like the trail it looks just like the Challenger disaster, right? Just by coincidence, okay? But here's the thing. Let's just assume they all have twins. NASA likes working with twins because they can check their bone density and whatever. None of the twins showed up at their siblings' funerals.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but
yeah, that's enough. I don't want to go any further there. But again, on the app under the NASA fakery, there's videos there that will show you. Again, belief is the enemy of knowing. It's hard to convince somebody they've been fooled. Nobody wants that. That's about it. I think unless you have a couple more questions, maybe we can end it here. And if you want to,
I'm just reading some of the questions.
Oh, please. Love questions.
And then guys, if you have questions, David is about to wrap up his show. My cat's hungry. That's why he's been on camera so much, because it's lunchtime. Okay, so let me see. I'm just reading some of the comments, and guys, if I've missed you, please repost your questions.
So while you're looking for some questions, I'll just tell people.
Yeah.
Download the app. It's $2.99. Okay. And just take the challenge, watch the videos, hit the 21 questions. All of your questions that you're going to be asking in this chat here are answered in there.
Yeah.
Don't believe, no. Okay. And when you see something on a video, don't just believe it. Go verify it yourself. Go like, you know what? I never thought about that. That makes sense. And do the calculations. Go out and do an experiment, and you will see that you've been deceived for a very long time.
Okay, so Sophia Grace wants to know, when is the next FE conference?
So do I want to know that too.
What is FE?
Flat Earth Conference. We just had one in South Carolina in October. 400 of us, no masks, and everyone's healthy. And it was an amazing time with amazing people. I think Karen B, the who did that, is planning one in February. I think February, maybe in Georgia, but that'll come out as soon as Dr. Fraudstey is done torturing the world. Maybe we'll have one in Vegas.
Thank you for that, David. And Kay wants to know, when was the moment you realized all of this? This is a question for you, David.
So I realized it when my good friend Sophia Smallstorm, we were talking about, all the deceptions on the news, and she goes, David, it's worse than that. I think the earth might be flat. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And she sent me Mark Sargent's clues videos, and I started going through those. And then I watched some more videos. I'm like, huh, that's interesting, but it can't be true. It can't be. It's like too many people. What about NASA? And then the moment was in the next 2 weeks, I barely slept. I researched. That's back when you could Google flat Earth and get relevant information, but they've changed the algorithms. Congress had a hearing with Facebook and YouTube and Google saying, what are you going to do about disinformation on your sites? And they use the term, the example of flat Earth. He goes, what if somebody says the Earth is flat? In that Congress hearing, they're talking about flat Earth. Okay?
And why is this being brought up? Because they are obviously everything the system is doing is in front of us, right?
They're trying to get ahead of it. I just put out a video a week or two ago that is Obama and John Kerry, mentioning flat Earth in a bunch of their speeches. They mentioned flat Earth and the Flat Earth Society again and again because they're trying to steer people towards the Flat Earth Society, because that is a gatekeeping site.
Okay, our last couple of questions. David, I don't know if you want to answer it, otherwise I can. What does that mean, entering Age of Aquarius? And then Patrick wants to know, does that explain how we're expected to lose power, electricity during that time?
They were talking about the days of darkness and all this stuff. I don't know what that means. It could be information darkness. It could be power outage. I'm prepared for a power outage. It could happen. Again, we've been saying this is coming, but we didn't know exactly what this is going to be. We've been doing it for, screaming it from the bleachers for, the last decade or two. Mm-hmm. So it's all coming to fruition now. But the thing is, don't live in fear.
Yeah.
Embrace this time. Ride with it, because you can't, ride with it, and do not consent. Do not concede. Do not submit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta hold your ground. I have 2 videos that kind of went viral. One of me at Trader Joe's when they called the cops, and the other one of me at Costco when they called the cops. And I held their feet to the fire. And, even though I ended up getting thrown out, they couldn't arrest me. But I taught them a lesson. Lost my Costco membership, but that's fine because they're the devil's store anyway. You should be shopping there. By the way, this t-shirt, that's t-shirt here. I have great t-shirts. And if you go in the app and go into settings, there's a t-shirt shop in there. Great, fun t-shirts to flat smack people with. When I say flat smack is, you go up to somebody and you just basically hit them in the side of the head with, hey, the Earth is flat. That's a flat.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is all of this information is very fascinating. I'm going to be doing my research. I'm going to be getting your app. And before we end, there's a couple of things I just want to say. One question was about entering the Age of Aquarius. And again, there's nothing to fear. Just, keep water, because before food, you need water to survive. So that's one thing. And David and I both drink blue solar water. David, show us your bottle. Woo-hoo, cheers! And yesterday, I did a video with DrSharnael about the blue solar water. So guys, check that out. David's going to be back on DrSharnael's show as well. And another thing is, when we talk about like new world, we're going into a new world, new world order. They are just preparing us to enter the Age of Aquarius. They know it. The system knows it, that we are changing. It's nothing to fear. It's just they can't say Age of Aquarius because that would mean that they're saying yes to astrology, right? So, they're manipulating us to believe new world order, new age, or new whatever they're saying. So that is one thing, nothing to fear. The second thing is we are okay. We are here with divine purpose. We are here to learn from each other. And David, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Before I end the show.
All right. You get a card. I'm in.
Yeah. So you ready? And guys who are new to watching our show, sexybrilliant.org, we are a registered nonprofit foundation to remove toxic shame and raise human consciousness. We have books. My first book is called Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious. Check that out. Available on Amazon and everywhere else. And we're going to pull these cards that are also available on sexybrilliant.org. They're a little bit X-rated, so if you've got any kids here, you're on your own. So, David, is there a number that is significant to flat Earth? Because we're pulling the cards now.
Well, I don't want to say 17 because then people will say.
Okay, we have a lot of cards that just want to come out. Can I pull a card for you?
Yeah, just pull a card. There you go.
Let's see
that one right there.
Oh, it says, I don't know if you guys can see this.
Go ahead. It's hard to say. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it says, love the people in your life. Okay.
Good advice.
Yeah. So we are all meant to cross each other's paths for a divine plan. Some people come into our life to leave us hurt and heartbreak. And some people come to stay for a long time. So instead of being angry, thank everybody, because everybody is helping you grow and find yourself. Appreciate your good fortune for these spiritual opportunities. Gratitude is sexy. So,
all right. It's perfect.
Yeah, so very grateful to have you guys here. And David, one more card for you.
I get two. All right.
Yeah, I know you have to go, but this is just so fun, and I love pulling these cards. Okay, let's see what it says. So I'm really grateful to everybody who's here. And the second one is hot vulnerability.
Hot wonder booty?
Vulnerability.
Oh, vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability. Right. And you know what? It's interesting because I put up a post that says that I was struggling with self-harm thoughts last week. So this one is for me, David.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, and you know, guys, this time is overwhelming. Many emotions are coming up. Just connect to yourself. Stay hydrated. You know, stay in connection with yourself. And this card, I'm going to read it quickly. It says, vulnerability means showing your authentic self to attract similar people to your lives. Be authentic, live life, be willing to show your good side, be willing to show your not so good side, and revealing your true self empowers us. And our appeal is grounded in openness, in sharing, and in listening. So I have that post up on LinkedIn. I have that post up on Facebook about me struggling with self-harm thoughts. I have a video about that on YouTube as well. So guys, please, you know, take care of yourself. Right, David? Anything else to end the show?
That is it. Just, seek truth and don't believe the baloney.
Don't believe the baloney. Thank you very much. And guys, please share this video. Please make sure that you are connected with David down the rabbit hole.
Deep inside the rabbit hole. And, the app on Apple, iTunes, App Store, and Google Play, just search for Flat Earth Clock. It comes up right away, top hit.
Yeah.
It's like Blue Water Bay to make sure you have the right one. And check it out. Take the app challenge and have a blast. And, you too can lose all the respect of your friends and family.
Already done that with Sexy Brilliant. Thank you so much, David. And thank you to everybody who's here. I love you. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Aitan and Patrick and everybody who's watching. And I know 77 is there as well. So I love you guys. Thank you, David.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.